head coach Devan Carter of the women's basketball team. And Coach, second season at the helm here, second season that you get to participate or be coaching here in Harrogate. First one I know was a little bit of a whirlwind. Your first season here at Harrogate, it was a pandemic. There were lots of things going on. 11-11 as a coach. I know it's not where you want to be record-wise, but your team makes a deep run in March, and you come up ever so close to the SAC Conference Championship. I know that's got to be something to build on to start off this season.
For sure. And, last year was, like you said, was a little bit crazy. Went through a lot of adversity. We lost starters from everything you could imagine, from mono to cutting their hand with a can opener for Thanksgiving, making cobbler. Just a lot of adversity, injuries, from just changing directions and stuff like that. So a lot of adversity, but yet, we found a way, and, our mantra here is just continuous growth, and we found a way to grow continuously every single day. And, I look at the year and, starting off, I kind of understood why they struggled a little bit, and it started to make sense, and all we had to do was change some habits. And our kids trusted us with that, and I thought that was really big. The buy-in was phenomenal, and we started a process of continual growth, and the kids embraced it, and they got better. We had 6 kids have career high years last year, and those kids have continued to get better, and it's something that I'm really looking forward to, is to see how they've continued to grow, in the past year. Last year, right around February, things really started to click. And as a coach, you love to see that, because you see kids getting better, you see improvement. It's like, wow, we might have, a shot at this thing. And so I was really just impressed with the buy-in and the leadership in our locker room, and looking forward to carrying that over into this year.
You talked about the buy-in in March. You all have to go. You had a home tournament game and a weird tournament because of the pandemic. You go on the road, you knock off the top seed. You go on the road again, you knock off another seed. You all made a historic run, and like we said, come up just short against a Tusculum team that you kind of helped build in that sense. But now you've got to see this team, the ones that are returning, and through the off season. You've got to actually have a full off season with this team. Talk about how that's how it worked through the summer, how they've continued to grow and work toward November.
Yeah, it's been really beneficial. I think it was the first time that these kids have had an off season, spring and everything, so it was new, navigating that. One of the things I want to make sure is that, we continue to focus on kids' weaknesses, but mainly focus on their strengths, and make them really, really good at their strengths, and then, work on those weaknesses to kind of build those up as well. And so I look at, some kids that, had a full off season and just grew as players. I look at Alex Kennedy, who set out last year. We went and played some scrimmages this year, and she was our leading scorer. We've had Lexi Kaiser, Lindsey Profit. Those kids continue to get better, and so it's going to be interesting to see. I think one of the things that we really focused on this year was just cleaning up some details and making sure that we're able to lock into those, and while recruiting some more athleticism and stuff like that. I really believe that this group has an opportunity to move the needle, and that's all we're trying to do. Everybody says they want to win a championship and everything else. I want to continuously get better day in and day out, and then have the ability to look back on the year and say, man, we took another step forward. Because the process of building a championship team doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in year 1 or year 2. But at the same time, I think that I've been around the league a long time now. I'm one of the oldest guys in the league as far as years put in, and what it looks like. And so I want to continue to build a program that looks like a championship caliber program.
Part of the build is continuity, and you and your coaching staff, for the most part, stay intact through the entire offseason. That's got to help a lot.
For sure. We had some openings on our staff this year, and you said continuity. I didn't want to mess that up.
Yeah.
And so, we had some situations where we had people put in applications for certain positions and everything else, but if it wasn't the right fit, I wasn't going to bring them in, and I think that's big. The main thing I was thinking about were the kids in the locker room, right? I have a rule that I'm not going to bring in anybody into our program that doesn't meet or live up to our standard, and so we decided not to fill those positions. What that means is that Coach Carter got to practice a little bit more. I got to hop into practice and get treatment and ice and everything from the trainers because I'm old. But that continuity was important. And you look at Jordan Sanders, has grown a ton. Has grown a ton. I've put more responsibility on him because he can handle it. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to hang on to him. Coach Wilson has been with me for 7 years as a player and as a GA and now as an assistant, and we've put more on her plate, and they've thrived in those roles. And so, the continuity of it is really big because I come into the office each day, we know what to expect, we know what to do, and we put our head down and get it done.
Those are leaders on the sideline. I look at the leaders on the floor. You've got some players that have been around this team for a while. I think of Alexi Kaiser that are going to be your leaders that kind of work like coaches on the floor because they know the system. For
sure, yeah. We've got an old team. I got some advice from Steve Forbes one day, and we were at lunch, and that joker said, one of the things is get old and stay old. Mm-hmm. So we've got a veteran-led group. I think you look at Jordan Maney, you look at Michaela Keeney. Those kids are leaders on the floor, but one of the things that I've been really impressed with is the leadership of Ireland Davison. She's been, she's come in from, as a transfer. Team played in the Elite Eight last year. She started on that team. She transferred to us, and she's just been the absolute leader of our ball club. Just comes in every day, brings it every day, is very vocal. You've got her. You've got Lindsay Profit, and another one that's taken another step that I've really been impressed with is Grace Day. And I was joking with her the other day. I told her that she always looked at me with these judgy eyes, right? And just to see the growth in her from year one to year two has been spectacular. The kid has really come out of her comfort zone. Yesterday in the middle of practice, matter of fact, she stopped it to just explain something to a freshman. And she literally diagrammed it like on the floor, so that's really good to see. I tell kids that, it's not necessarily always the loudest person. You can lead through action, but, it's the one that comes in every day and brings it and brings others along with them. That's important, and those kids have really embraced those responsibilities.
You've had the summer, one-on-one workouts, team workouts, and different things. You talked about you've had a few different scrimmages, I'm sure inter-squad and different things. What have you seen from this team that's got you hyped or ready for the start of the season here in November?
Yeah, so, in the preseason, one of the things I wanted to make, sure of is that, we built off of last year and that we continue to grow our roster, with some talent and develop that talent, So preseason for us, kids come in August and we're sitting there, or the end of August, and we're sitting there and we're like, where have we gotten better at? Where have we gotten worse at? And so after that, first few weeks of being able to recognize that, we just kind of hit the ground running. I'm excited for the growth of some of our young kids, kids that may not necessarily have played a role on last year's team as far as on the floor game-wise. They were more scout kids. I'm really interested to see how those kids have grown. We've mentioned, Grace Day, Addie Kirkpatrick. Those kids have gotten better for us. Michaela Keeney has taken on more of a leadership role and is probably going to have to score the ball a little bit more for us. Lindsay, Lexi, Ireland, those kids that provide that veteran leadership and shooting. And I can't believe I missed this, but the one kid that I believe is taking probably the biggest step is Lauren Flowers. I'm excited to see her. I don't know what she took over the summer or what she did, but when she got back, the first thing I noticed is the kid is tougher. And that's huge from your point guard. When you have a tough point guard, that is absolutely huge. And it's one of the things that we had talked about and tried to get her to embrace. And, the sky's the limit for her. And the first thing I noticed when she got back is she's a little bit tougher. And by tougher, I mean a lot tougher. Yeah. And so we're going to depend on her a lot. Her responsibility sheet has probably grown the most out of anybody on our team, and she's embraced that wholeheartedly. So I'm excited to see how we look. I'm excited to kick this thing off tomorrow and see where we stand, and then try to grow from there.
You could start off the 2021-22 season at home inside of the Texas Turner Arena. Only 9 home games last season. You get started off here, regional play. You've got Converse and King out of the Conference Carolinas. What have you seen from them, and what are you expecting through the weekend?
So Converse's coach is a new coach, as well as King's, a new coach. Couple things I do know. I know Converse is going to throw a lot of different presses at you. I know that they're going to be athletic. They've added some transfers actually from the SAC. They've added some kids from Lenore-Ryan and other different places in the league. They've got the reigning freshman of the year in the league. A kid out of South Carolina that's extremely athletic. 5'10", 5'11", can shoot it, can rebound it. The coach, Coach Davidson, actually brought her point guard from her previous institution with her as well, who's very athletic and fast. So, they're going to challenge us with their speed a little bit, I believe. And then, so we're going to have to embrace some pressure. We're going to have to knock down some shots, and we're going to have to handle the reigning freshman of the year in their league and arguably their best player. And then when we play King, one thing I know about King is Coach Thompson, their previous coach, did a heck of a job. So I know that the culture is already set there. They can play for championships, and they have a lot of talent. So they've got a Brianna Dunbar kid that we actually recruited when I was at Tusculum, and she's taken a major step for them. Has been playing really well, dropped 20 on Memphis. They've got another kid, Trinity Lee, who's really, really good out of Oak Ridge. Another kid that, when I was at Tusculum, we played him and she lit us up. And then they've got some transfers from Carson Newman, and they've got some players that can play. So the talent is going to be there on King. I expect King to contend for a Conference Carolinas championship. And so we're going to have to bring it, have a ton of shooting. Got a kid from Kentucky that can shoot the lights out. So that's going to be more of a scout-based deal for us. Our players have to be locked in because any one of those 5, 6, 7 kids they got can burn you. And so it's going to be a challenging weekend. I'm looking forward to it to see where we stand. We've had a couple of scrimmages, but as the song says, ain't nothing like the real thing.
So I know the goal on the weekend, you want to go 2-0, but you got conference play coming. What do you want to learn this weekend to get ready for conference play next week?
I want to see how we measure up in the conference. So we open up with Anderson here.
Yeah.
If you remember last year, I think Anderson put on a defensive clinic against us, and I want to see where we are. One of the things that with Anderson is they're going to be big, extremely big, like ACC big. And we're going to have to combat that size. And so I want to see where we stand going against the post players this weekend, how we guard, how we play without fouling, how are our details, right? Because we open up in a gauntlet. I mean, we go Anderson, Wingate, Catawba. And it's like, goodness gracious.
Not that you're looking ahead or anything.
Right, not that I'm looking ahead, but you see those first 3 conference games, you're like, wow. I just want to see where our details are, and I want to see, how we come out and compete. Can we put 40 minutes together, or do we, put 20 together and have to go back to the drawing board? How consistent can we be? And I just want to make sure that we come out of the weekend with a bona fide strength, and then obviously some things to work on to get better as we continue to grow. So I'm looking at everything. Probably going to wear my assistants out, but we go back and we'll watch the film after this weekend and see where we're at.
Sounds good.
Thank you, man.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you, brother.
All right.